I am here in Altitude in Ballybrecken, Waterford, an absolute treasure trove of amazing bicycles to meet Eamon Barrett, proprietor. Good afternoon.
Morning. How are you? Great to see you.
It's great to see you. Eamon, I was blown away by the shop. It's fantastic.
Thank you. We've over the last 3 years we've invested a lot of money in upgrading the retail environment in the shop to make it a better place for customers to be able to display the products better and to give people the kind of retail environment that I think people deserve really.
I have never actually been in a bike shop like this.
Well, thank you.
It reminds me of a car showroom. Talk to me about the bikes that you have here, please, Eamon.
Well, this section we're in at the moment is our mountain bike section. So here we have a whole array of mountain bikes varying in prices from under €500 up to almost €5,000, depending on the potential user and what they're going to use the bike for.
Yeah, they look brilliant. And do you know what? I'm really excited about talking about the electric bikes. Let's go down and have a look.
Yeah.
I decided that we would help with our carbon footprint and buy an electric bike. And I don't know anything about electric bikes until this morning when I test rode it. Will you just talk me through, and for people watching, what's the difference in the ranges and what to look out for when you're buying an electric bike?
The things to really focus in on if you're buying an electric bike are, first of all, the motor. So you really want either a Yamaha or a Bosch motor which is integrated into the bike. You will get some models that have the motor in the hub, and we do sell some of those as well, but they need to be tailored to the individual. The hub motor won't push out as much power as an integrated motor. And if you live in Waterford or Tramore or East or Ring, where you have hills, well then it's important that the bike is capable of carrying you effortlessly over those hills.
So to the lay person, as I said to you, what do you mean by all that? You're really talking horsepower.
You're talking horsepower. I always say to people it's like acceleration in your car. It's not about speed, it's about the ability of the bike to cope with the terrain. And then the second thing people need to focus in on is the size of the battery, because that's your range. Battery doesn't equal extra speed, it just means the bike will go for longer without running out of power.
No difference to an electric car.
No, exactly. And the sweet spot is kind of 400 watt hours or 500 watt hours. That will give people a comfortable 100 to 150 kilometres of cycling, which for most people is plenty.
And do we have the bike we're buying handy here?
Oh, we'll get it. We'll get somebody to get it.
So in terms of why you recommended that bike, like for me, I came to the shop, right, because when I do business, it's all about trust. And so Eamon, I said, what'll I buy? This is what I need, and you sorted me out. I didn't really need to look all around. So why did you recommend the bike that we're getting?
Well, I suppose we did the same that we would do for every customer. We spoke to you about what the usage was going to be, and then we matched the product to your idea of what that usage was going to be. So it was going to be primarily city centre use. The member of staff who's going to be using it would need to arrive to show a property without being covered in sweat. So the bike had to be able to carry them along effortlessly. It would need lights for safety, it would need mudguards in case it was raining, it would need to have a carrier in case they had to carry any documentation with them, and it would need to be very easily locked.
And I did a test drive on the bike this morning around Ballybrecken. I'll include a photo of the bike so you can see the bike we're buying. It's retailing at 2,900, is that right?
That's right, and you cut quite a dash on it.
Oh, thank you very much. And then what I was asking about was, how do you lock it if you are thinking of security?
So the one that we recommended for you came with an integrated lock. It's part of the bike, so that if you're stopping at a shop or you're stopping at a property to show a client, that it's just the turn of a key and the bike is locked. Now, we would always recommend, as I did to you, that we add an additional lock in with that for extra security.
And we're going to also, I suppose, look at the bike insured. And I was asking you, I said, is this a stupid question, but can I get a mirror on the bike? And you were saying,
mirrors are very popular on electric bikes. I suppose because the bikes themselves are a little bit heavier than normal, and also sometimes the profile of user is somebody who may be coming back to cycling, who thought that maybe their cycling days were finished, and the e-bike is opening up the opportunity again. But they're a little nervous in the traffic, and they'd like to see if there's something coming behind them in case they need to make an adjustment on their position on the road. It just makes life a little bit easier.
I'm really excited about getting it. And in terms of the environment, how do you feel that this is going to impact on our environment?
I think it's inevitable that e-bikes, cycling in general, are going to play an ever-growing part in all of the decisions that each of us has to make about how we move around. You know, for myself, I have an e-cargo bike because you met my 2 dogs earlier, so they have to be transported. But I also have a Jeep. Now, the Jeep has to go at some point because I can't be carrying that responsibility of driving that kind of vehicle anymore. So I have to make different choices. So the e-bike is part of those choices that people are going to have to make about all of the impact that each of us has on the environment during a climate crisis.
And I'm also thinking, how easy is it going to be parking? I mean, it's going to be a doddle and it takes a little bit of the stress out of travelling.
Absolutely. I mean, I only live over in Ferrybank, and when the weather permits and I don't have too much stuff to do with work, I can throw the dogs in the cargo bike, cycle over. I'm actually here faster than if I came in the Jeep.
Of course you are.
And you arrive, all the traffic. Yeah, and you arrive and work in much better form because you've instantly had some fresh air before you start work.
So, a couple of crucial questions in terms of how someone can buy this tax efficiently. So, if I'm buying it through a company, just talk me through that, please.
Yeah, so if you're buying it as a company asset, obviously it's going to be VAT reclaimable, and also then it would be a depreciating asset that you'd be able to write off against tax. And of course, the other mechanism, which is the most popular one, is individuals can purchase a bike using the government assisted cycle to work scheme, which would mean that they would pay no tax, PRSI or USC, on the element of the bike that's covered under the grant scheme by the government.
Super, and I'm going to put a link up to the scheme on this video. Eamon, can I ask, are all your clients based in Waterford, or do you service customers outside of Waterford?
Well, it's an interesting question because maybe 3 years ago, most of our clients would have been in Waterford. Since the pandemic, the business has kind of become a little bit more national. We had a very good website in place when the pandemic hit. Bike supply became very challenging, and we immediately just pivoted and started delivering bikes all over the country. And we also have a really strong workshop team. We service all types of bikes. You don't have to have bought your bike here to get it serviced here. We're happy to welcome every single customer in the door. Super,
and I can hear them fixing bikes in the background, hammering and drilling there. That will be finished in a minute, guys. So in terms of the products and service, you service bikes, you sell bikes to children, adults?
Every type of bike imaginable, we're happy to have it in the shop. We have a full range of services. We offer a bike fitting service, we do carbon fibre repairs, we have lots of electronics now in the workshop. Another interesting point about e-bikes, they're run by software. So now we have to do software upgrades to bikes as well. So it's all changing, but we're relishing the change.
Well, I'd like to wish you, Eamon, and your team continued success. It's a fantastic story. Before we go, when did you set up the business?
32 years ago, when I was 20 years of age.
You don't look old enough. Eamon, you're an absolute pro here. You provide a fantastic service. It's a beautiful shop. I wish you continued success. Gurv Mila Mahagud and Slán go fóill.
Thank you.